Yo, once again, it's on. Back at you one more again, Real Kens TV in the House Like Kitchen Sinks. Now, before we get into this afternoon's story, if you will, y'all jump in the comment section. Let me know where you're chiming in from. I'm in Lexington, Kentucky. Let me know your city, your state, your hood, your set, whatever it may be that you representing, and let us know if you're the man or the woman that you say you be. You know, penitentiary, man, I often refer to the penitentiary, jail, any sort of incarceration. It's a dog-eat-dog world. And it's a totally different environment opposed to being out here on the streets. See, on the streets, if somebody owes you something minor, $1, $2, $5, 9 times out of 10, 9.999 times out of 10, you're not really sweating that. You just letting it go. But in the penitentiary, man, you lose your life, man. You subject to lose your life depending on who you owe. I done seen guys get their wig just absolutely split over 40-cent noodle, ramen noodle, 50-cent pack of cookies, because people often say that it's not about what you owe. It's just it's principle, it's principalities. You know what I mean? It's a respect thing. I'm not gonna split nobody's wig over no 50 cent in the joint or anywhere else. But everybody's not me. You know, you have certain hustles in prison in which you can make money. Now, in Kentucky, I want to say, I don't remember the year, but I know it was in the early 2000s, they took smoking off the yard. No tobacco whatsoever. Very, very huge. That was a huge heartbreak, if you will, to all the people that smoke. A lot of people in prison smoke. I'm going to go out on a limb and say the majority of people smoke. So just imagine for you individuals that do smoke or that used to smoke, they take smoking off the yard, or you can't get to a cigarette anymore. Stressful times for a lot of people. Me, myself, I've never smoked. I've never tried a cigarette a day in my life, so I can't relate. But at the same token, I understand that a lot of people do smoke just to relieve that stress, I guess. Nevertheless, they took smoking off the yard. You had a dude named Tennessee, man. Tennessee was an all-around hustler, man. Black dude. He had dreads, came down to about his shoulders. About my complexion, maybe a little bit lighter. Had tattoos or whatever all on his arms. Tennessee was about I want to say he was about 6'4". So I know you all thought I was going to say he was 5'11". Everybody's not 5'11", except for over at Real Kens TV. But in this particular rare case, Tennessee was 6'4". They called him Big Tennessee. And I'll explain to you why they called him Big Tennessee. Now that I really think about it, Big Tennessee, he was kind of a big dude, pause. He probably was weighing in at 230. 235, somewhere right around in that range. But Big Tennessee didn't even work out. He was just naturally big or whatever. He was a hustler, straight hustler, man. He was married. I want to say they had 3 or 4 kids, and he didn't really want his wife sending him money, so he would hustle from inside, and got to the point to where he was sending his family money. He didn't want to be any more of a burden than he already was. He had a 20-year sentence. It was nonviolent, so he had to do 4 years to the parole board, meaning, for you all that are not familiar with the prison terminology, he had to do 20% of his time. 20% of 20 years is 4 years. Go see the parole board, you have an opportunity to get out. Well, he had a robbery charge, but it wasn't deemed as a valid robbery charge, if that makes any sense. I like to paint a picture for you all. Rock with me. And so, Tennessee, Big Tennessee, man, he was an overall hustler, man. I'm talking about this dude did tattoos. He could cook. He's the one that really showed me how to make a prison pizza. Take the noodles. You add some water. Some people use bread, some people use crackers or whatever, and that's how you come up with the dough. Because you crush the noodles down real fine. And you come up with the dough for the pizza out of ramen noodles. Dude was just a hustler, man. You buy me the food that you want cooked or whatever, and he puts his tax on it, and then boom. So he lived very, very well in prison. In the meanwhile, you had another Tennessee. The other Tennessee, they kind of, to be honest, they could really, really pass for brothers. Everything that I described about Big Tennessee, pretty much how Little Tennessee looked. Only difference is Little Tennessee didn't have dreads, he had braids. Like I said, same complexion. Little Tennessee worked out a lot. He was cut up, man. He's about 5'9". Stayed in the gym, man. Now, obviously, being that they were both from Tennessee, they had a connection. They didn't know each other prior to being incarcerated, but they had a connection. They didn't stay in the same dorm, but you would see them talking, kicking it, walking the loop or whatever on the yard. Little Tennessee stayed in my dorm. This dude didn't never really have no money at first. I'm talking about we'll go to the chow hall. There's nothing wrong with going to the chow hall, but in prison, the people that have money, a lot of times they don't go to the chow hall. Maybe if they're having like pizza or something like that, but I know some people that never, it's a disgrace for them to be eating in the chow hall for them. But at any rate, Little Tennessee was waiting on some money. I don't know if it was his taxes. I don't remember what it was, but he was waiting on like, I want to say $4,000 or $5,000. You definitely knew when he got his money because all of a sudden he's going to the commissary and he's coming back with big bags. Most you could spend back then was, I want to say, $100 a week. He's going to the commissary and every single, because you could only go once a week then. I think now you can go like every day, Monday through Friday. But he would come back with big old bags, man. He got all the expensive stuff, man. The high end, the banquet chicken. Which I know about that banquet chicken. He got the Polish sausages. He got the burgers, the patties. They sell like 16 patties for $15. The chicken tenders, just all the high price items. Now he's able to afford. It's crazy because his whole demeanor kind of changed. Like, it was many times he came over to me and asked me, "Hey, bro, you got a noodle? You got this? You got that?" I gave it to him or whatever. But then when he started to get his money, he never once, but such is life. It's just the way that it goes. He never once was like, "Hey, bro, you want something from the store? Hey, bro, you good? Hey, bro, you want one of these burgers?" Not once. He's living it up. He's balling. And so, he's doing this thing or whatever, and they worked out some sort of a business deal, if you will. You see, Little Tennessee had the money. Big Tennessee had the connect. So when I say that he had to connect, he had somebody on the streets that he could talk to because he would get visits pretty often. Little Tennessee never really got. Every once in a while he would get a visit, but for the most part he didn't really get visits like that. Big Tennessee, he's telling, "Hey, look, man, I need y'all to go to the store, to the tobacco store. Get this tobacco. And once you get it, I want you to, drop it off at a certain spot, a certain location." They were getting pounds of it. I want to say at the time, a pound would cost you maybe $30. And my math could be off, but I want to say that at the time it was maybe $25, $30 for a pound, maybe $40. Well, that's really insignificant because the amount that you're going to make is astronomical opposed to what you're going to pay for it. A whole pound of tobacco in prison would go for $1,200, probably more if you just broke it all the way down. When I say break it all the way down, you got sometimes you break it down, people want to buy $20, $30 worth. Sometimes people want to buy an ounce. Sometimes people want to buy, a half ounce. It just depends on, what I mean, what your pockets call for or whatever. Now, mind you, 16 ounces is 16 ounces in a pound. Smoking is so big on the yard. You got a prison yard that got over 1,000 people, right around 1,000 people, and the majority of the people smoke. They started off with a couple pounds just to, see how it was going to go. Everything started to go well. Big Tennessee, he's accumulating money. He's sending money home. But oftentimes it didn't even have to come onto his prison books, because back in the day they used to use money orders. But then when they came out with the green dot card, that really allowed people to kind of, I'm not going to necessarily say beat the system, but now you don't have to have a money order sent to you. Now, when you have a money order sent to you, having all these different money orders, they're going to look, it's going to become suspicious. Like, why is this guy getting all these money orders? So with the green dot card, the way that it works, for you all that don't know, you go to the store, you buy one. It's $4 or $5 to buy a green dot card. And it's just like a little credit card or a little debit card. If I want to buy cigarettes from you, right? I want to buy $200 worth of cigarettes. I tell my people, hey, we figure out some sort of special code or some way to. Some people just had cell phones. But for the people that didn't have cell phones, all I got to do is just, if I owe you this money, all I got to do is just have your green dot, account number, your card number. So you tell me your card number. I tell my people, hey, make this deposit from your card to this card, and then boom, the money's on there. Money's confirmed. I get the cigarettes, and everything is everything. Dudes made a whole lot of money fooling with them green dot cards. And so Big Tennessee, he's accumulating his money, like I said, and that was money for his family. Well, it got to the point to where the drop-offs got bigger and bigger. It's one particular instance had 10 pounds coming. 10 pounds. The drop-off spot, it's how can I put this? So you got a highway, right? Now, as you pass in the prison, when you're on the highway or whatever, you literally see the prison. You have it dropped off in a, black bag or something like that. And you have what's called runners. And it has to be an individual that's really, really fast. In this particular dorm that we were staying in, usually on Saturdays, you're going to get a cool CO. You're going to get somebody that's, laid back. On the weekends in prison, man, it's very, very laid back. So you get your runner, somebody that's fast. Y'all negotiate whatever you're going to, he's going to charge, and he runs to the highway. Comes back. Typically takes, if it's somebody that really, really, is in shape, 13, 14 minutes. I don't know exactly what the distance is, but I would imagine that if you're running for 14 minutes straight, for the most part, it's probably, a couple miles? I don't know. I could be way off. Nevertheless, 13, 14 minutes, runs to the side of the highway, grabs a bag, runs back. Beautiful thing. It was just working so no problems whatsoever. Because like I said, on the weekends, it's always a cool CO. Now, technically, they would charge you with attempted escape if you were to do something like that. But see, if you know the actual rules and laws of prison, you can't really charge me with escape until I left the compound. Only thing you really can charge me with is being in a unauthorized area or a restricted area. That's far from escape. Yeah, I might get some hold time, or y'all might be able to take some good time away from me, because in prison you can accumulate good time. But you can't charge me because I haven't left the compound. So you got to know these things. And when you're doing dirt, you definitely have to understand the what ifs. What if I get caught? Risk versus reward. It's always so easy to say, oh, yeah, but what if I don't get caught? But what if you do get caught? So you have to understand that. Not trying to encourage anybody to run off. But rules are rules. Rules are rules. I was getting ready to say something else. Rules are rules. But nevertheless, this would go on a regular basis, and they pretty much had the whole yard sold up. Yeah, you had other people that had tobacco, but they weren't getting it, in the large quantities that both Tennessees rather, they were getting it in. Well, this particular day, everything was cool. Drop off was made. Runner goes and gets it, comes back. Now, when he would come back, Little Tennessee, because Big Tennessee wouldn't be there because his dorm was like way across the yard. You can't just go in other people's dorms. Now, if you catch a cool CO, something like that, then perhaps. But Most cases, you can't go in other people's dorms. Little Tennessee would get the bag and inspect it, make sure that everything was everything. And then they had a hiding spot that they would put it in. It was like in the wall, like in the shower wall. Had like a special tool, and they could take off the the little thing or whatever that the knob. Pause. To where once you take that off the wall, you could slide anything down inside. So it was a perfect spot. But everybody wasn't privy to this spot. Now I know now, but back then I didn't know where the hiding spot was. I mind my business. See, in prison, man, is see no evil, hear no evil. I don't got nothing to do with that. I don't smoke, but I know them cigarettes was generating a whole lot of money. And that's all they stuck with. They didn't do the alcohol. They didn't do the weed. They just straight cigarettes. And it's kind of smart when you think about it, because it's like, why venture off into something else when we can make plenty of money? I'm sure they probably did cell phones from time to time. But for the most part, they thing was cigarettes. Drops made. Little Tennessee's inspected it. It's put inside the wall. It's put up because they would have to break it down. You see what I'm saying? And people would already have their orders in. So, okay, you want this, you want that. So it would be broken down. And once it was broken down, a lot of times, that's when it would be put into the wall. Now, when I say broken down, like I said, some people want a half ounce. Some people want a half ounce. Some people want a whole pound. It just depends on, once again, what your pockets call for. People in prison be having money, man. They be having money, believe it or not. And if they don't have money, they got people on the streets that will send them the money to, spend $400-500 on some cigarettes, man. Because it's going to last them for a while. They're going to sell some of the cigarettes so that they make a lot of their money back, and they're still able to smoke. Again, it's like 1,000 people on the yard. So just imagine 1,000 people on the yard and 900 smoke. Maybe more than that. Maybe a little less. But I know that the majority of people on the prison yard smoke. Time came to little Tennessee went to go get the cigarettes out of the wall. There's only one problem. Cigarettes is gone. No cigarettes. He's looking, he's searching. He knows that a CO ain't found him, because when a CO comes in, first of all, they hadn't done a shakedown. Now, sometimes a CO might go into the cell when you're not there, because this is like an open bay. This is not like an individual cell. Now, you had people that were in individual cells, but where we stayed at, it was in an open bay. Police hadn't been in there. Police hadn't been in the cell whatsoever. These cigarettes at, bruh. Looking. He's asking around or whatever. Ain't nobody seen nothing. Like I said, in prison, man, it's mind your business. He goes to Big Tennessee, man. We got a problem, bro. Yeah, what's happening, man? What's the deal? Cigarettes is gone. What you mean the cigarettes is gone? Man, the cigarettes is gone, dog. What you mean the cigarettes is gone? Bro, what you mean what I mean? The cigarettes are gone, man. When I put in the same spot, you know what I'm saying? Or one of my spots. They had like 3 or 4 different spots or whatever. And when I went in to get them, they gone. Big Tennessee's furious. And this dude was normally laid back, mild-mannered, coolest dude in the world. Like, I never seen him upset, never seen him mad, none of that stuff. Automatically, I guess, being in prison, 2 of them didn't know each other, as I've already mentioned, prior to being incarcerated. So he's thinking in his mind, did he get me? 10 pounds? That's over $12,000 that we stand to make fast. And now you saying that they gone? So they looking around, they asking around, they trying to, see who has cigarettes or whatever. Everything's kind of tight-lipped. As I've already mentioned, people had cigarettes besides them, just not at the quantities, if you will, that they had. A few days goes past, it's tension. Words getting back, he said, she said. For some reason, Big Tennessee had it in his mind that Little Tennessee tried to play him. Bro, just try to play me, man. I know my people's made the drop. I know that the cigarettes were picked up. He told me everything was good, so all of a sudden it's gone. And then I'm seeing people smoking. I'm seeing people smoking that typically weren't really smoking. See, everybody in prison, you're very, very observant. So you're looking around, you seeing all these guys smoking. I know this dude ain't trying to beat me, man. So he tells him, hey, bro, I'm going to need that bread, man. I'm going to need that bread. Look, Tennessee's like, look, I mean, what do you mean the bread? I didn't do nothing. I got beat too. You know what I'm saying? I went in on, because at this point, like, even though Big Tennessee had the money to go in, like half, the money was still coming from Little Tennessee. Just to connect, the plug or whatever was from Big Tennessee. So really, he didn't lose out on anything as far as money that he actually invested. But he lost out on money that he stood to make off the cigarettes. So now the two of them, they having words or whatever. Words gets back to Little Tennessee that Big Tennessee, he wants to fight him, man. He's like, that's big bro. You won't fight me for real, man? So the two of them seen each other. They were talking. It was a confrontation. Hey, bro, you know what it is, man. You don't got that money by, gave him a deadline. You don't got that money by Friday, I'm coming to get it. One way or another, I'm coming to get it. Even when he told him, when Big Tennessee talked to him, he still talked to him in a calm demeanor, kind of like smiling when he was telling him. Like, yeah, you know what it is. Again, I never heard him raise his voice or anything of the sorts. Friday came. Actually, it was the night before Friday. It was Thursday night. Big Tennessee rode, man. He rode for him. When I say rode for him, he came down to the dorm. It was 3 of them. When he came down to the dorm, he was knifed up. I don't know why he brought a knife, but he had a knife, man. Little Tennessee wasn't trying to come out, man. Big Tennessee went inside the dorm, literally inside the dorm. I think the only thing that saved Little Tennessee is because the CO that was on that day, it wasn't a cool CO, so he couldn't really go any further. You know, once he entered the dorm and he seen the CO, he couldn't really actually go up to the cell, to our cell. We was in like a 10-man cell. Otherwise, I would say that he was coming in. I seen the look on his face. See, I was downstairs and like they got like a little lobby area, and that's where the phones are at. I'm downstairs on the phone or whatever when I see dude come in, and he definitely looked like he meant business. Probably about 15, 20 minutes later, after Big Tennessee left or whatever, I'm gonna get you. You see the CO escorting Little Tennessee up to security. Take him up to security. Nobody really knows what's going on. Is he telling? Why are they just taking him up to security for? Probably about 15, 20 minutes after that, they come in with the black bags, the black garbage bags. You see a black garbage bag, that means somebody's about to get packed up. Little Tennessee, they pack his stuff up. He got so much commissary, he got so much stuff, so it's like 4 or 5 bags just like commissary. Take all of his property out. Nobody really knows what's going on. People are just assuming that, man, he done told on Big Tennessee. If they come and get Big Tennessee, we know what happened. Little Tennessee's a rat. They automatically just start calling him a rat. Automatically. No proof, no nothing. Just start calling the man a rat. He's in the hole for maybe about 2 or 3 days. When they bring you out of the hole and they put you in a van, either you going to court, because everybody sees you got on an orange, bright orange jumpsuit. Either you going to court or you getting transferred. They see Little Tennessee getting on the van. They drive him off the compound. He done checked in. Literally checked in. Like went to the people and told them, hey, man, I don't feel safe on this yard. Now, typically when something like that happens, you don't have to give a name. They're going to ask you, well, who? I don't wish to say who, but I just don't feel safe on this yard. So Little Tennessee never said Big Tennessee's name at all. He just went to the people. I would imagine he was like, man, I don't feel safe on this yard. Now I know some people's like, man, that dude's a punk, man. You know what I'm saying? Nah, he should have what? You got 4 dudes coming at you. One got a knife. You know that you didn't even do anything wrong, but they have it in their mind that you did this. saying that you owe these thousands of dollars or whatever they cut would have been, Big Tennessee's cut. What am I supposed to do? Stay on the yard and get stabbed up? It just wasn't, it wasn't Little Tennessee's stilo. So like I said, he gets shipped off the yard. Big Tennessee, at this point, it's about a week later, week and a half, maybe 2 weeks later. He's starting to understand who has this tobacco. It's a Mexican dude, man. His name is Carlos for real. Carlos, some people call him Los. We used to call him No Diggity. And the reason that we refer to him as No Diggity, because every time you say something to him, that will be his response. I told y'all about True Stories, a dude named True Story. And every time, in prison, people rarely use like your real name. So every time you say something to True Story, what's up, True Story, man? I see you getting swole, boy. You been in that gym. True Story. I see you on visit. I see you with your girl. Okay, I see you. True Story. Man, I heard you made parole today, bro. Congratulations, man. You finally going home to your family, man. You out of here. True Story. Well, the same is True Story. No Diggity. That will be his response. Anytime you ask him something, anytime you say something, No Diggity. He was a referee, like he worked in the recreational departments, and he was like a referee for the basketball games, softball. Are you refereeing the game tonight? No Diggity. You going to the chow hall, man? They got pizza on. No Diggity. So we just started calling him No Diggity. He was cool though, man. No Diggity was probably about 5'9". I know he was weighing in every bit of, he was short and stocky. He was probably, 220, 225 pounds, man. And the dude was a boxer. They said he used to be a Golden Glove. I don't know, but they say that about everybody. But I tell you what, he would hit the punching bag, the heavy bag. And when he was down there hitting the bag, you would literally stop what you doing and watch this dude hit the bag. I'm talking about he was fundamentally sound. I mean, he damn near was just knocking the bag off the little thing that it hangs from or whatever. He's killing the bag. So you knew that this dude definitely didn't play no games, man. This dude didn't play no games, but he was cool. He was laid back. He wasn't one of those bully type dudes or anything like that. He'd been locked up for a while. I think he was at the end of a 10-year sentence, but his sentence was violent, so I think he had to end up doing like 8.5 years. He's at the end of the sentence. He's not trying to get into any trouble. He's not, he's just off to himself. Word started to get back to Big Tennessee that he was the one that, had his tobacco or whatever. He ended up approaching No Diggity about the situation. No Diggity, man, I don't know what you're talking about, my friend. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. Big Tennessee wasn't buying that. Too many people was telling him, like, nah, man, that's the dude he's the plug. He got all the tobacco. Where else would he get this tobacco from? It had to have been you. Plus, you work down in the maintenance department just as well, so you have access to the tools that it would take to, take the little thing off the wall, whatever, and get into the shot. We started putting, 2 and 2 together. He's gonna get him, man. Look, bro, I'm not trying to hear none of that, man. You owe me this, and I need my money by this particular day. If not, we're gonna ride. We're gonna ride on you. No Diggity really didn't hang around a lot of people. It's not like on TV to where, at this particular prison, to where, okay, you got this table, you might have your blacks. Then you got this table, and you got your whites. Then you got your Mexicans. Now, don't get me wrong, it's like that to a certain extent. But in Kentucky, it's more so like cliques. People are clicked up. So you may be from the same city or whatever, but it's 5 or 6 different cliques, if not more, because, okay, I'm from, the south side. Okay, I'm from north side. I'm from west side. So it's more so cliques opposed to gangs. No Diggity really didn't. Yeah, he had his Mexican partners that he kicked it with, but, it wasn't like a slew of them. It was just a few or whatever. So I'm guessing that Big Tennessee felt as though, it's strength in numbers. and, you know, dude don't really rock with a lot of people or whatever. So we gonna take advantage of our numbers. Yeah, we know that he can box. We know, but boxing ain't got nothing to do with this. What we gonna put on him? Well, Diggity, man, I don't know what you're talking about, man. I ain't got nothing for you, bro. I ain't got nothing for you. Matter of fact, man, get on out of my face. This went on for a couple days or whatever. No Diggity had a cell. So if you're in an honor dorm, right, you can work your way to a one-man cell. And the honor dorm was in the same dorm that we were in. And so, like, when you walk out of our cell, which is a 10-man cell, it's like a hallway, and right across the hall is another 10-man cell. But like in the back of the dorm, they got like the 1 and 2-man cells. I never made it to a 1 or 2-man cell because I didn't want to. I was cool in the 10-man dorm that I was in. I was, everybody in there was cool. So I never wanted to go to a 1-man cell. So, just like they did the first time, they came down to the cell, man. They came down to the dorm. It's like 4 of them. They go into No Diggity cell, and it was probably the biggest mistake that they ever could have made. 2 of them walking to the cell, man. You got Big Tennessee. Then you got another one. I don't even remember who the other dude is. One is, his runners or whatever. What's so crazy, one of them had a knife. They knew that they had to come strapped dealing with this dude. They seen him hit the bag. But as I mentioned, Big Tennessee, he didn't care nothing about that. They go into the cell, man. No Diggity gets cut up. He don't really get stabbed, but he gets sliced a couple times. I tell you what, it was a bloodbath, man. It was a bloodbath. But it wasn't No Diggity's blood. It was Big Tennessee and the other individual that went in there. The other dude just got knocked plumb out. Like he was just laid out. Like literally just laid all the way out, man. No Diggity did so much damage to them 2 dudes. So much damage. I'm talking about, man, like his hands, it was just lethal, man. I didn't see the actual fight because I wasn't in the cell. But I seen the aftermath. And I would imagine that, Big Tennessee, he was in there trying to hold his own, trying to fight. But this dude, like I said, was a former Golden Glover, man. He short, stock, kind of gave you that Mike Tyson sort of build. But Mike Tyson's 5'11". He gave you that Mike Tyson sort of like the way that he would hit the bag and he just had that feel to it. Man, you couldn't do nothing with that dude, man. I'm talking about this dude. I'm not going to say he's the toughest dude that I've ever seen in prison because what is tough? But as far as like no weapons and just straight hands and I don't recall anybody or seeing anybody that could get with No Diggity. Of course, police see what's going on or whatever. They hear all the commotion. They call a Signal 7. Got to call a Signal 7. That means stop what you're doing and get down to this dorm immediately. I don't even remember the name of the dorm. I think it was C1. I think that's what it was called, C1. Because you had 2 dorms that was closest to the highway. You had C1 and C2. So I want to say it was C1. Signal 7 in dorm C1. Signal 7 in dorm. Signal 7 in dorm CC1. That's what it was, CC1. Signal 7 in dorm CC1. See all the police running in there or whatever. Everybody goes to the hole. They bring the biohazard team, comes in there and has to clean up all the blood. They taking pictures like a real crime scene or something. Everybody's in the hole, whatever. Probably about 3 or 4 days later, you see No Diggity come out of the hole. He makes it out of the hole. In the meanwhile, the individuals that came down to the dorm, Big Tennessee and them, they get shipped off. They let No Diggity out of the hole because he's self-defense. Man, they came in my cell. What am I supposed to do? They come in my cell. They don't even belong in this dorm. This is how the people, he didn't have to say that to the people. This is probably how the people's looking at it, like, you all don't even live in this dorm. So how can we really write this man up? You see what I'm saying? How can we write No Diggity up? Because he's in he's in his place, in his cell, minding his business. So what is he supposed to do? Not fight back? And he, like I said, he damaged them dudes, man. The two that ran in, the other two didn't. They didn't. I guess they didn't want no parts or whatever. Type of things that happen in prison, man. I'm talking about, man, dude's face was all busted up. See, when you first get into a fight, you can't really see the bruises and the, you see some cuts or something like that. But they said once they seen him a few days ago, well, a few days after the fact, that his eye was black, he was cut. I would imagine that he had to go to the hospital and get stitched up or whatever. Even though No Diggity was wrong if he took that dude's tobacco, I don't know if he took it or not. I'm assuming that he probably did, but allegedly, just in case he's watching this, man. I don't want no smoke. I don't want no problems, No Diggity. Just in case you happen to see this, it was wrong for taking that man's tobacco, but it's dog eat dog. It's penitentiary, man. These are the sort of things that you see, and he had an opportunity to make thousands of dollars. And if he took that tobacco, which again I'm sure that he did allegedly, I'm sure that he made his money. He probably looked at it like, man, I got a little while before I go home, 7-8 months. I'm gonna go home. It's to give me an opportunity to really, really stack my money up, so I'm not getting out and I don't have anything. And it's one and done. Once his tobacco's gone, it's gone. No Diggity didn't even smoke. So I want to say, I don't know what the man made, but I wouldn't be surprised if he made 10 grand. Wouldn't be surprised whatsoever. Ain't nobody gonna play with him about his money. Ain't nobody gonna play with him, period. They seen what he could do on the bag, and then when he did that to them boys that tried to run up, that did run up in his cell and just thought because they had a knife, it just didn't go smooth. I'm gonna tell you the crazy, crazy thing about this all. About a month later, Little Tennessee comes back. You remember he checked in. But when he checked in, he didn't have a write-up or anything. So once he heard that Big Tennessee was no longer on the yard, somehow he was able to come back. Like, typically once you get transferred, you got to wait like 6 months before you even remotely have a chance of coming back. But I guess because it was administrative and he didn't catch a write-up, I don't know what the scenario or the situation was, but he came back to the yard. And when he came back to the yard, he knew, everybody was talking, he knew that No Diggity was the one, allegedly, that took his cigarettes, man. He just let it go. He said, man, I done made enough money, man. I got thousands of dollars on my books, man. I'm good. I don't got no time to be beefing, man. I ain't got no problem with you. But he didn't want that smoke. He didn't want them problems. He didn't want them problems, and I don't blame him whatsoever. Yeah, you work out in the gym every day, but the thing about it, and that's cool to work out, gives you a good look, keeps you in shape. He was one of them dudes, man, that just, as soon as he finished the set, he was going to do something else or whatever. Like it was no rest. It was constant movement. And that's a great way to work out. But them weights don't fight back. Those weights, they make you look good, but those weights don't give your jaw no, don't make your jaw stronger. And he definitely didn't want that smoke with No Diggity, man. No Diggity did the rest of his time, 6, 7, 8 months or whatever, and got out. See, in prison, when you're going to do things like run poker games, or you're a store man, which means you loan out, items until, commissary day. So you loan out, $10 worth of items, then, they owe 14 back or 15 back, whatever you all negotiate. You have to be able to, you can't just be anybody. You're selling cigarettes, you're selling, weed, you're selling, whatever you're selling, liquor, whatever the case may be. You can't be a pushover, because people would definitely take advantage of you if they sense any vulnerability as far as, oh man, I can truck him, man. That's a Kentucky saying, but meaning that I don't have to pay. Get it off the roof. Yeah, you gonna tell him, yeah, man, my money will be here next week or whatever, man. Let me get this, knowing that you have no intentions upon paying whatsoever. It's a dog eat dog world, man. Stay out of prison. That's the first thing. But if you do by chance find yourself in prison, stay away from that world, man. Stay away from that world, because it's all type of game that's being ran in prison, man. I can tell you all so many stories of just game plotted robberies, extortion. It's all a game, man. Real Kens TV, man. Hopefully you like the video. Feel free to comment, definitely share, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Be sure to hit that post notification, so anytime I bring you this action and this heat, you're amongst the first to receive, man. Shout out to Big Tennessee. Shout out to Little Tennessee. Shout out to No Diggity. And shout out to my dog True Story, man. Real Kens TV.